the recording so I can get this in it. But
Yeah.
thinking about mentality is really just going into the game and already knowing what character you're playing, right? What role you're on. Right, so if you're coming into a game and you're playing DPS, right, you're coming in completely different than if you're playing support, right? You're going, pew pew against enemies versus pew pew on teammates, right? Two different jobs. Supports are going to stay away from enemies a lot more than DPS will, right? So in general, like our play styles and positioning is always going to change around different characters, and we just kind of want to put in our heads what those play styles and positionings are, which is what we can talk about here is how should you be playing on support, and then you just want to think about how you should be playing while you're playing or before you're playing as well.
Gotcha.
All right, so then
Cool.
I'll just be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about then.
Okay. I imagine it won't be too long.
Mhm. All right, maybe unnecessary fade there didn't really seem to like garner us much value. Oh, that's a word I haven't used in a while.
Yeah.
All right, so fade. Let's talk usages of fade, right? What does fade do? Fade has kind of three main purposes, right? With fade, you can use it for mobility. With fade, you can use it to dodge, and then maybe I think I made up the third one. Those are the two main purposes.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can use it
Well,
for
to
mobility and
escape.
use it to dodge,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and to escape, right? Those are the main purposes, right? To escape danger, right? Whereas here so far we've used two fades already, and neither have been for either of those purposes, and it doesn't really seem to be accomplishing very much, and it's not getting us any value except for wasting the cooldown and also wasting time while while we aren't able to do anything. Right? So first fade we fire immediately when we're not in danger, when we're not needing an escape, and we're also not really using it for mobility because again this doesn't really get us anywhere in particular, and we didn't really need mobility for any reason, so we might have wanted to just hold on to the ability, and then we fade immediately after we get it here in a moment, right? And we fade like up to Monkey, even though we were still within range of Monkey there. We were still able to damage him, right? So this just delays us before we're able to actually damage him again. Though I do like the damage orbs, though. So that's good. Okay, maybe once again, not super needed on the fade. Okay. I like that we're launching in Discord orbs very frequently, right? You're gonna want to do that anytime healing orbs aren't needed. Though here, just noting that we toss it straight at a. First up, we're tossing it when we're looking at a pillar, and then we also toss it into a main icicle, right? So just be careful of the objects that are bouncing off of it. And then once again, noting that we are using fade when all we had to do is walk like 2 inches to the side, right?
Yeah.
Not really getting us any value in terms of the fade. And then now, if we were to, for example, get let's say May right clicked us in the head and we're 50 HP, or Monkey jumped on us, or some people are
Oh,
shooting
yeah.
at us, right? And now we don't have that as an
Yeah.
option.
Yeah, no, this turns out pretty poorly, I think.
Okay, so like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Besides that, make sure that we're using our tanks, right? Like here, like we're kind of not using our Reinhardt, even though he is like right next to us, and we could be like standing right here doing largely the exact same thing, right? And we also are not using cover, right? So keeping in mind, right? I think last time we would have discussed good positioning is the usage of cover, bad positioning is the absence of cover, and here we're not really particularly standing near any cover, right? So therefore we get headshot and we die.
Yep. That is exactly what happened there.
Though fading backwards spawn is a good thing. Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so when are heal orbs needed? When are they not? So far we've been throwing a lot of Discord orbs, which is good because in those situations they were fine. There's specific instances where heal orbs are needed, and specific instances where they're not. We throw Discord orbs whenever in general across your entire kit. Whether you're throwing orbs, whether you are healing versus damaging, or using your ultimate and deciding, do I heal, do I damage, right? You have three different parts of your kit that you have to decide, do I heal or damage? In every part of your kit, the answer to that question is if healing is not needed, that is time to damage, right? And you should not be healing if healing is not needed. If somebody is full HP, that is called overhealing. Right? I'm not sure if we discussed that last time. I don't think we went over support last time, did we?
Oh, we haven't gone over support, but
Yeah.
I used to play WoW, and there's definitely overhealing meters and stuff like that
Yep.
that you have to kind of understand, keeping your resources
Yep.
in check.
So when we overheal, we're just accomplishing nothing. We're wasting time. We can waste resources, right? So when healing is not needed, we look to damage, right? So what that means with orb is needed when people need healing. When particularly not just like any tiny little bit of healing, because you can heal with your left click, right? You need orb if somebody needs healing and they're really far away from you, or let's say a big group of people need healing, or let's say you need to burst heal somebody, so you need to heal somebody really, really fast. So if you're healing people from both your orb and your left click, well, now you're healing them, twice as fast as you usually would. So let's say somebody's in danger and critical, right? Um, those are going to be your main instances. You can also use it if you're out of healing juice or you're out of resource. You can use it if you are looking, if you know your team's in danger. Right? There's a bunch of different scenarios where it's needed. Look at the situation right here, and if you need to, look at the team 2 at the top right corner of your screen. Do people need healing?
Nope,
No, so therefore
not at all. Yeah.
this orb's just going to bounce off into nothingness, right? Oh, it heals him for a little bit, and then it bounces off into Narnia, right? And it just doesn't largely do very much, right? It's just
No
kind of a
value.
wasted
Yeah.
ability, right? So far we've seen us waste like 4 abilities, right, in a minute and 20 seconds. So looking to hold on, or sorry, more like a minute, right? So looking to hold on to our abilities and make sure they're actually doing things.
Okay.
Okay. Do. Tracking the Doomfisting
Yeah.
for a moment.
Yeah. I got a little confused.
Alright. Make sure that we are paying attention to our teammates, right? This is awareness, right? Now there are some people who need healing, right? Your Reiner just needed healing a moment ago. I think, oh, maybe unless he didn't. McCree needs healing, is who needs healing, right?
Yeah.
McCree is critical over there, and we don't particularly seem to be paying attention to him. It's a little bit delayed. We don't seem to even notice that we have people over there, so make sure we're keeping track of where our teammates at. Possibly even like if we see that 2 people are walking left side and our BAP's not looking at us or at them, we can walk over to help them out, right? Here we just end up being a little bit too far away from them. Good, that's a good situation to fade. What happened to our orb though? I think did we
It
toss it?
bounced off the. It might
Yeah.
have bounced off the pillar.
Yeah. So again, watching
Yeah.
for objects in front of us, right? Being careful that they're not randomly bouncing off things, because again, that's another wasted ability in that case, right?
Step right up.
Okay. Just watch this little bit of overhealing, right? We've seen a little bit of this so far, but watch how we heal
Step
McCree,
right.
and now right here they're both full HP, and we continue to heal, right, and then we stop, right? So just look to stop on the healing when people are full.
Your strength ebbs.
Another probably wasted healing orb that wasn't particularly needed.
Get into position.
Okay.
Allow me.
Okay, very nice. Good abilities.
This will restore you. Kill them all.
Oh, didn't mean to skip there. So, looking in this scenario, there's a good healing orb. Reiner's getting really aggressive up there. Probably want to help out a little bit. I think we end up overhealing a lot here, so just that ends up wasting a lot of our resource there. Just watching that we're not overhealing. Overheal orb right doesn't do anything, and then right now we're kind of down on resource.
Surrender to my will.
Okay. Coalescence needed question mark. Yeah, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so good coalescence. Okay, let's rewind that like half a second here.
I surrender to my will. Help me.
Hmm.
You seem in need of aid.
Alright. So
You grow
just
weak.
watch just this little bit of like inefficiency once again with healing, where we can just kind of watch for this a little bit, where we start healing. First off, here we start healing, I believe from too far away, right? So we press the healing right here, and this is very far out of Moira's heal range. Why is it not displaying her healing?
Yeah, that's weird.
Hopefully it'll actually show it this time. Yep, so you see the heal range, it extends out to McCree there, right? So
Yeah.
we try to heal out of heal range, and then that's just wasting your resource once again. Then we do get into heal range, and we heal, this is fine. Then we swap and heal nothing here, right? So make sure when we're looking over this way, which is fine to look over this way, just let go of the
Stop
button,
healing. Yeah, yeah.
right? Then we keep healing,
You
we swap
seem
back
in
to
need of
D.Va,
aid.
we heal her up, and then we heal Baptiste, who's full HP, so paying attention to health bars. You can, the first step to stopping overhealing is to pay attention to health bars and how high of HP are your teammates, right? Because when we don't pay attention to that, then we overheal. And then we heal D.Va once again, who maybe needs it a little bit there. But, yeah, so just, therefore, we end up, before the fight's even starting, we're at below half, when we don't need to be.
You grow weak. Get into position.
Alright, let's watch
Get
the
into
situation
position.
one more time. Alright, so we're scared of those guys. Alright, you get walled off.
Got you good as new.
Touch from afar. The payload moves with certainty.
Alright, if the fight is happening, so a lot of the times, like when you're in between fights, you can just toss in damage orbs to, like, get them in there doing damage, getting you ult charge. But if the fight's happening, I might recommend looking to use your damage orbs a little bit more towards actually securing kills rather than just spam damage, right? Whereas, like, kind
Got
of
you
look at
good
this
as
one
new.
where we just kind of lug it in there without really thinking about how we're
Touch from
tossing it,
afar.
and then therefore, like, that might be an okay one if you're in between a fight. But here, like when we might want to burst down the Mei, if we just waited 2 seconds later, well, now here we can toss it at Mei and do 2 times the damage because we're damaging her from Orb and from, your right click. So therefore you might be able to melt her a lot faster. So look to use your orbs to burst people down and don't just kind of chuck them in randomly, but put a
The
little bit more
payload
effort into it
moves
so it's
with
doing things.
certainty.
Alright, so things are going pretty smooth so far. Smooth sailing.
Step right up.
This will restore you.
Okay, or not really doing very much again.
Yeah, sometimes I use them to heal myself. I should
Oh,
should I?
what was our health out there?
I mean, I
Sorry.
don't think it was too bad. Like it was low,
Okay,
but
okay, okay.
like
So I
less than
sorry,
100.
I think I missed that there because I had the row up here. My bad.
Yeah,
You are
no
low there.
worries.
So yeah, but healing yourself there is completely fine then.
This is my will.
Okay, make sure we're watching like healing people when they're purple, right? So like if we know that he just recently got purpled, then we might want to like give it a half a second before we're before we're trying to heal him, and then that way we're not just wasting resource, because here we go from full resource and then we heal him, right? And then we here again notice that he's full HP and we keep healing, and then we pause, right? Notice as well that Moira she doesn't have as much as she did, right? But she does have a
Yeah, it
heal over
definitely
time
feels
effect.
less.
Yeah, yeah. So she used to have a heal over time effect, right, which would last 4 seconds, I believe, where it would heal them just a little bit after you were done healing them, right? That it'd give them additional healing, whereas that it was lessened. But note that it's still there. So once you get somebody up to like 90% HP or 85% HP, let go and let the auto heal do its work. That way you're not wasting as much HP, or sorry, resource, right? Whereas every time we heal somebody up, we go up to the 85%, but then we go to 110%, right?
Yeah.
This
Okay.
will improve your condition.
Okay, unnecessary heal orb.
Good job, team. Let's keep it going. Regen up.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Your strength fades.
Alright, so notice that we're just kind of coming into this fight without any resource because we've been using it. Alright, and that's not usually a good thing because now we don't have resource to work with.
Your strength fades.
Maybe healing a little bit when it's not
Not
necessary,
ready.
and then now we're out of
Danger
resource.
again.
Probably want to look for damage, because they're when again when people don't need healing, we want to look for damage. That way we actually have the healing for when healing's needed. But there we're healing when healing's not needed, and then therefore we're out of resource now. Though we are about to ult. Oh, um, no reason for us to back up there. Like here, we just kind of put ourselves out of the fight, and then now we can't help our team who's in the fight. There, this is just a perfect situation to go for ultimate, right? You see a bunch of people are lined up. Here we have, 1, 2, 3, 4 people lined up, so we can be healing Ryan and damaging 4 people all at the same time. And we're also out of resource, so this would be a perfect opportunity to be I believe coalescence charges up that was a new change, right? Coalescence charges up your resource meter now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not sure.
So
Like honestly, I don't know if it does or not.
I'm pretty sure coalescence charges up your resource meter, and on top of that, we're just out of healing anyway, so we need to heal a Reinhardt who's critical HP, but we see Reinhardt's critical HP, and then we dip out and we run away, right?
Surrender
And
to
then
my
we
will.
coalescence, but we coalescence way too late when, Reinhardt's dead now, right? So pay attention to health bars, pay attention to danger levels of teammates, pay attention to the fact that we have our ultimate there, and then look to use it when, when you're out of healing and need to heal your Reinhardt. Okay. Whenever you're ulting, you should be looking to line up as many people as possible in your ultimate, so you can get maximum value, right? You're going to get, 6 times more value if you have 6 people in a coalescence versus if you have 1 person in your coalescence, right? So look to have as many people lined up, and how we do that is we rotate ourselves around people, right? So let's see our perspective here, right? We look at Moira for a moment here, but let's say, for example, we decided to position ourselves like right here, and now we're hitting both the Baptiste and the Diva, or Baptiste and I think that might be out of range for the Brig, right? But maybe Baptiste and Brig, or Baptiste and May, right? Or Baptiste and McCree, or Baptiste and Moira, right? So you're just rotating around your teammate here, right? We can push up here and maybe do Diva and these guys, right? Push up and maybe can get the kill on the Brig who might make it out here. But instead, notice how like we're only ever on one thing, right? We're on the Baptiste, right? And then now we're on the May, and then we're on the May, and now we're on the Bap, right? It's only ever one person. So look to get more than that. It does, go through multiple people. That's the main purpose of the ultimate.
Get into position. Restoring you.
Okay, that was a good heal orb. Oh. Mhm. Okay, so first off, we randomly, or wait, well, I'm rewatching that for half a second because I had a brain fart. What was May's HP? Yeah, so first off, we randomly melee May when she's like half HP, so that doesn't really do very much for us. Look
Yeah.
to, is it possible we were trying to throw a heal orb, in that situation? Yeah, I think it's possible we were trying to throw a heal orb, and then we just didn't press the heal orb button. That is a possibility I could imagine here. Just make sure pressing that button. Don't randomly melee May, and then look to continue to heal her. And there, even we could have possibly tried to go for a walking in front of our baby diva as well as an option there, and just body block for her if you know that you're full HP and probably won't die to her.
Oh, stop it.
Okay, tech thing that we'll go over whenever we get the chance
This
here.
is my will. I need to recharge.
Okay, when you're zeroing your resource, consider using your heal orbs instead of damage orbs, because now we are out of orbs and out of ult and out of healing, and we're all burning and don't have our other support. So now we have no way to heal, right?
You're fully healed. I require healing.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Okay. Mm, Not great angle, not really used when heal orb used like when
Allow
we're
me
doing
to
anything,
repair the
right? So
damage.
make sure, here if McCree's down 10 HP and then Reinhardt who might need it, that it just bounces off the wall and doesn't go to him, right?
Step right
You
up.
seem in need of aid.
we've been out of resource for a long while. If we're out of resource, our number one priority is to get resource because we can't do anything if we're out of resource, right? Like we're not gonna be able to heal, and us trying to heal is just gonna be futile, right? We're just going
Yeah.
to try to do like this, like tiny. Yeah, I'm gonna give you 5 HP and then I'm out, right?
Yeah.
So look to go in
It's a
and
band-aid.
damage, right? Here we should be probably instead of just like slowly waltzing forwards with the heal orb, we should probably just fade over here, get some right click damage in, right? Go and look to damage the enemy team, right? If we're running out of resources, it means we're not damaging enough.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Step right
You
up.
seem in need of aid.
And then we're still just sitting here waiting for heals, So good old heal orb though. Though make sure it's all right. Yes. Trying to think. We have some enough techie things. We'll go over 2 techie things. 2 to do. All right. So on Moira, where is she at? Supports. Where am I looking in tank DPS? So
Science will reveal
with
the
Moira,
truth.
right? Some techie things. First off, with your jumps, just some extra control with it. Normal fade, right? We can go to around like 15 meters ish, right? But if we were to jump at the very end of our fade, well, now that extra momentum carries you to where you're going like 22 meters. So look to do that anytime you're trying to get somewhere fast, anytime you're using it for mobility, or even if we're trying to like, for example, cross a gap, right? Whereas you wouldn't be able to do that if we didn't jump, or like watch the same thing if I were to try to normal do that, right? Just run into it. So if I'm trying to climb up words on a surface, I would go for a jump, right? Then besides that, when you're healing, you're always looking for as many surfaces to bounce it off as possible. If you have 2 parallel surfaces, that is perfect. You can go like this, line it up. We see parallel surfaces here. We can bounce it, and it just goes back and forth infinitely, right? It just stays in the exact same spot until it goes away, right? That if you're throwing a heal orb, you want it to stay with you. You don't want it to bounce off into Narnia, right? Same thing if I were to go up and down here, right?
Get into
Same exact
position.
thing, right? It just stays there infinitely, right? Now, what it doesn't do that is I just launch it straight forwards here, or that way, or this way, right, or this way, whatever. Doesn't do it. If you do not have 2 walls to bounce it off, then bounce it off 1 wall, right? Don't just toss it. If I'm trying to heal myself here, I'm not just gonna toss it straight out. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to bounce it off this wall, and I'm going to walk with it, and then walk the way with it, right? And this way I stay with it for the maximum number of, maximum time frame, and I get the most healing out of it, right? So look to bounce orbs off walls. And then I think that is mainly it. Also note that when you fade, you don't always have to go for max fades, like in, you don't have to always do your max distance where you fade all the way over to here. You can also go for short fades and around corner fades, right? You can, a lot of times when you fade, right, instead of, going max distance just in a straight line, you're going to mix it up a little bit. You might go, fade and then go an inch forwards, right? Or you might fade and then go around the corner. Usually fade and going around the corner is really good because they don't know where the heck you just went, right? So look to be, a little bit better with the fade and how we're using it.
Gotcha. Quick question on the
Yeah.
jumping tech. So you were jumping at the very end to like get up to distances, or did you jump?
Yep.
Okay.
Very end.
Welcome to reality. Ready for battle.
I require assistance.
Activating self-destruct sequence. Knocking them off.
Step right up.
Restoring you.
Let them up.
All right.
Felt good when I woke up.
And we cap at 2 minutes, so pretty good.
Ready for attackers incoming.
I cast this forth.
Okay.
Stop the payload.
Hurry up about it. Become Karula. Help me. This will heal you.
Okay. Putting yourself a little bit out of range of your Reinhardt. Make sure you're sticking within range. I believe on your left click on Moira, your range is, I don't want to mess that up. It's 15 to 20 meters. I can't actually remember the exact distance, but here we definitely are playing outside of the range. When we push back to here, that is going to be too far away to actually heal Reinhardt. So therefore, if he's, half HP, you might want to be like a hair closer. right? And it's not
Okay.
too dangerous because we do have Fade and we do have an Orb and we do have a Diva who's in front of us. So it's not like us pushing forwards, a meter or two is going to end up killing us. Then besides that, we end up just keep backing up.
Recent breath.
Good heal orb though.
Get in the immortality field.
Notice again how he's getting aggressive and we're all the way back here. Pay attention to what your team's up to, right? If he's pushing forwards, you should probably be up there with him because otherwise, right, he's gonna die like he does, right? And that's your fault, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not paying attention to him, right? And now you're down a player for this fight. That snowballs the fight into a lost fight. That snowballs the round into a lost round, right? So look to stick up with your team if you know they're all there. And then same thing with McCree here, right? We're so far away from the McCree, even though we know that we saw that he's up there, right? So make sure we're paying attention and looking to go and join them up there.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Is it possible that we maybe thought in our heads like this is bad positioning, our team doesn't want to be there?
Yeah, I guess so. Like I felt like we needed to pull back and
Hmm? All right, so let's talk about that for a moment. So, this is a quote from Jane. You might know Jane. He is a Overwatch League coach, streamer, right? Real popular coach, right? He says that when one person is doing something stupid, that is called feeding, right? When six people are doing something stupid, that's called a strategy, right? So the point in that being that if you had one single Reinhardt who decided I'm going to charge into their spawn, you're not going to be able to help him there. And if you did, you'd probably just end up dying, right? And you'd lose the fight. But if, let's say, our entire team decided, like we saw that we had four or five, let's say 3, 4, 5 people up there, then that's the strategy that they're trying to execute, and us not executing that strategy with them is just going to lose the fight, right? Like what value are we getting by sitting in the back? We're just going to lose it, right? If they, are up there and we're in the back, then we don't do anything. If we're up there and we try to assist them, then we could end up winning the fight, right? So in this instance, if we see that the majority of our team is in bad positioning, go and join them in that bad positioning. Don't sit in the back. Now, if you have the time, right? Let's say like it's before a fight begins, or let's say that you want to communicate it, you can try communicating and saying like, "Hey guys, back up! Don't be in there, right? Back up." But if they don't listen, go up with them, right? Because otherwise, you're just sitting there, and then that's your fault for losing, not theirs. Because they're all on the same page, they're all doing the up there pushing, but you're the one person who's not on the same page, right?
yeah.
I'm restoring you.
Time to raise my APM.
Touch from afar.
Okay. They're on a Diva now. This changes how we're going to be using our orbs. We can't toss orbs straight at Diva, right? That's not going to work. If we try to toss orbs straight at Diva, they're just going to get eaten, so we can't do that. So what we need to do is we need to make sure we're trying to get them around her. So we're going to throw a lot less damage orbs. We maybe throw a couple more healing orbs than usual, right? Because, of course, damage, if you're throwing a healing orb inside of your team, then Diva's not going to be able to eat that as easily as the damage orbs that you're tossing straight into her team, right? So the other ways that you can get around her are using orbs when she is not looking, using orbs when she's out of range, using orbs while she's out of mech or dead, using your orbs when she's out of defense matrix, using orbs when you know that she just can't pay attention to it, right? So you have a lot of different ways that you can use your orbs. Just don't look to just toss them straight into a diva when she's staring at you, because that's just going to waste the ability, right? Okay, a little bit more overhealing where we're just kind of wasting all our
Not yet.
resource, right? So notice this right here. Alright, so we heal a little bit. Now, again, like let them heal over time, and then we
Touch from
look to
afar.
heal again and heal again on these guys who are full HP, and then we're healing too far away from Baptiste, and we push forwards, and then
Not
now we're
yet.
out of resource, right?
The power of destruction.
And then notice again how we throw the damage orb when we are out of healing juice, right? So probably much more beneficial that we throw a healing orb in that instance, right? Because healing is needed. So pay attention to your surroundings. Again, that comes down to awareness.
Let them out.
Okay, notice our very out in the open positioning. Right, just remembering that good positioning is usage of cover, bad positioning is absence of cover. We did talk about that last time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that means that being here, right, or being here is much better positioning because now we can go boop, window can't see me, right, I'm still within range of the fight, right, whereas here we are forced to use fade, we're forced to back all the way out of the fight, and we also took 50 H, or we cut down the 50 HP, right, so all of which is worse than being up where D.Va is.
Get into position.
Okay, and then this is possibly still winnable. We end up letting Baptiste die because we're so
The
far away.
payload has reached breaching point.
Go and touch that. Like, if your D.Va's not going to touch that, you go and touch that, right? You have Coalescence. Just Coal real quick. You get speed boost from Coalescence, right? Run up to it. This is still a very winnable fight. I think there's a possibility here that we think that this is a lost fight. Do you think that's maybe the case?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it is, but
Yeah. Do you did
I
last time
think
did
they
we?
already capped it like when I took the 50 HP, I think.
No. We had like an extra 5 seconds after that or so.
Oh, okay.
All right, so watch the fade backwards, right?
Let them out.
Right, fade backwards. Heal
Get into
orb. We're full
position.
HP, and then now there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
The
Right,
payload
so
has
4
reached
seconds. All of which,
breaching
if we
point.
had been pressing W the entire time, and we press coalescence, which speeds us up, we probably definitely could have made that. Right. Now, last time did we talk about how to tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight?
Like the percentages.
Yeah,
Like I mean, we're
like
up.
kill feed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
watching kill feed, and it's 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3. Is that something that's ringing a bell?
yeah, it's 4v4 now, right?
Yeah, right now it's actually, right, I think your McCree, it's possible that he just got that kill. When did he get that kill? Right, he just gets the kill after they
The
cap, right?
payload
But
has reached
it
breaching point.
was a 4 versus a 4, and we also have closer spawns, and we also have more HP than them, right? And we also, let's see, we have currently BAP windows up. We have RL, Lucy's not with them. And then we currently have more ultimates than them, right? We have High Noon. We almost have Bob. We have a Coalescence. We have Baptiste ult that's currently active. All they have that's in the fight is a D.Va Bomb, right? So here again, we have more ults. We have closer spawns. We have more HP, and we're about to get a kill on the Ashe. So all of which is saying that we're not losing this fight. In fact, we're at an advantage, right? I wouldn't say we've won the fight yet, but it's definitely winnable, and here we don't touch, right? So paying attention to our environment, being aware of our environment possibly wins you the fight there, right?
Nerf this.
Whoa, faded a little bit early there, right?
Yeah, it is.
Time in it slightly late, and then we just got saved by the little fence there. Or
Yeah,
whatever that is, the light pole.
Carry out.
Prioritize healing over damage, heal the McCree who's like 1 HP, and again, watch for health
This will
bars.
restore. Regenerating your cellular structure.
And watch for, all, so positioning wise, right? Let's see, we're at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Remember, 9 minutes and 30 seconds we can. I just want to
okay.
demonstrate this real quick. All right.
Science will reveal the truth.
All right, so while we're here, right, when you're positioned, first off, let's talk about healing range, right? So healing, I believe it's 15 meters. Maybe can we go past 15 meters? Yes, we can. All right, so let's see, is it 20 meters? Actually, it might be 15 meters. Oh, 16 meters. Okay. So you have 16 meters,
Not yet.
right, on your range with that. Make sure we're sticking within that, and we're not trying to heal when we're not, right? So on your team, look to stick within that 16 meters. You should not be further away from 16 meters from your team whenever possible, right? Whereas in that last, in a couple fights we've seen that, right, where we've just kind of been really far away from them, particularly in that last one. And then on top of that, not just, away from our team, but we want to be in the middle of as many people as possible, right? What we were doing is we were standing over here where we could see like one person, right? But then the rest of our team was all over there, right? So why not, for example, position ourselves to where like we're right here and we have cover, but then we can heal this guy and these guys, right? We're in the middle of all of them, we're within range of all of them, but within our gameplay, we're positioning really far away to where we're not able to heal, and when we're not able to heal, that's missing out on half of our kit, right?
Gotcha. 9:30.
9:30. Oh yeah, thank you.
Ready for battle.
Forgot, didn't realize what you were saying there for a moment. right? So notice here, right, how we end up, we see McCree's critical, we heal him a little bit, we get booped away from by the diva. This is where I would be fading towards my team, right?
Regenerating your cellular
And then
structure.
we back up to the right, right, when we see that we have the Reinhardt and Diva all the way up there, and Ashe
I
all
could
the way
have
up there.
accomplished the same thing
Right.
from the bridge. Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And then therefore we're not
And
able to
now I'm
heal these
super far.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, then essentially once again we essentially cause the deaths of, not 100% your fault, but this is your impact on
Yeah,
your
I
tanks
could have.
dying, right?
Yeah, I could have made a difference here. Yeah.
And on top of that, we also still have coalescence, right? So noting that now it has been an long extended fight without using coalescence. So looking to use our ultimate. Don't hold on to it because ults that aren't used don't get any value. Okay, a little bit of unnecessary fade. I think we were like debating within our head of like whether or not we should go in or not. Again, be within range of Reinhardt. We're a little far away there. Definitely not paying attention to kill feed here.
Yeah.
Right? It's a 6v3. Definitely very heavily winning this fight. So usage of coalescence is not needed. Right? Paying attention to the kill feed. As even if we were to lose our Reinhardt, we would still be massively winning the
Oh,
fight.
yeah.
Right, so therefore with our ultimate there, we had an ult that we held on to it for a fight, and then we used it in a already won fight, right? So remember, 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage, 2 to 3 is a won or lost fight, and then when you've won or lost a fight, you don't use ultimates. In a loss, and you get super aggressive, or you get aggressive in advantages, passive in disadvantages, and then when you've lost a fight, you look to get out if you can, and if you can't, you let them kill you.
Gotcha.
A touch from afar.
Bad guys.
Injured again.
All right, so let's rewatch that for half a
Injured
second.
again.
Okay, so what's the problem with that?
That was the wrong
Picture.
orb.
Wrong orb, right?
Yeah.
When we're 50 HP and Reinhardt's critical, right, and Diva's low
Yeah.
as well, right? It's a wrong orb.
I cast
And
this
then
forth.
when we fade,
Fading further away instead of behind the boxes.
yeah, right. Make sure that when we're fading, we're not just, again, this is what I was talking about with the smaller fades. Is we don't every time we fade, it doesn't have to be a max range fade. Whereas this just puts us really far away from the fight. So now we're not able to participate at all. We're not able to heal or do anything, right? On top of that, request healing when we're 50 HP and we don't have an orb, right? Make sure we're getting healing fast. That's gonna get us healing fast. So request healing.
Activating self-destruct sequence. Suiting up.
Okay, let's rewatch this for a second. So damage the Genji there. Heal orb. Not particularly needed because I don't think we realized the Baptiste was healing us, right? So make sure paying attention to our health bar and paying attention to our environment, right? A lot of awareness things. We also fade for question mark reason. Oh, make sure paying attention to Genji who is 1 HP, right? So just a bunch of different things here, right? Genji is below half here, and he is literally 1 HP right there. And we see him, and we're on him, and then we just go off of him, right? We're on something else now.
I will unmake you. It was only to be expected.
Okay, I like the orb spam there. It's good.
My will
Good idea.
made real.
Get to some old charge.
Restoring you. This will restore you.
Heal orb just didn't really do anything again. When people are, actually needing healing, right? Now when they're not.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this might be a situation where we might want a more max range fade, whereas noticing that or I guess that'd be a situation where jumping would just be better, get us closer to our team. Alright.
The payload Allow me to repair the damage. Your body decays.
All right. I don't know how we didn't die there, but
Yeah.
this is a lost fight, right? So we're looking. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 1, 2 people, right? So it's a very very heavily lost fight. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I sneezed there.
Definitely. Yeah, no problem. Definitely should have got punished.
Yeah. So and then we just kind of chill and we don't move at all. We just kind of sit here and we sit here and we sit, oh, and then we back up, and then we walk forwards, and we sit here, and we sit here, right? And we're 85 HP, and we don't throw a healing orb, and we're standing very smack dab in the middle of the open, where Ashe can shoot at us, and Lucio can shoot at us, and Genji, and everybody on their team can shoot at us, and they just, for some reason, don't shoot at us, so that's definitely an example of us not being punished for a mistake that we made, right? And then we walk forwards into their team. Right? When our entire team's like right here, right behind us, all we have to do is just back up just 5 meters and we're good and we're in good position and get around the corner and we're fine. But instead we're sprinting into their team and then finally we back out. But like we should have been dead by then. Like if we had
Yeah.
if we had a higher rank, we'd be dead there. Also noting max range fade again, and then now we're out of the fight. Looking to use coalescence. Nice. Before you coalescence, if you have orb on
Throw an
cooldown,
orb.
always throw an orb, right? Because then you just
Yeah.
get it out there. You recharge orb while you're in coalescence, and if you use the orb that you're trying to get value out of your coalescence with. So again, right, like if you're coalescing to do healing, you would toss a healing orb so you get extra healing. If you're coalescing to do damage, you throw a damage orb to get extra damage. Okay. Again, line up as many people as possible, so I'd be moving this direction because this is the most people as possible, right? Like right here, we see 4 people. Here we see 5 people, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 people, right? Here we see 3 people, 3 people. Again 4 people, right? So and then also on top of that, if our team's full HP, we're no longer looking for healing, we're looking for the damage aspect. Alright, good coalescence.
Repairing the damage.
Okay, let your Baptiste do the healing. If the fight's over, don't waste a resource, right? If like you see Baptiste is staring straight at Reinhardt, then let him heal him up. Getting a little bit aggressive here. For some reason we just started doing that this game where we just like started face tanking a little bit.
Yeah.
We're not a tank, right? Remember our role is support, right?
Yeah, we're not Mei.
We're not playing a tank. So we want to make sure we're backing it up a little bit, playing behind our team, behind our tanks, behind our DPS, right? So that we can first off see them and know when to heal them, and secondly, because we can't do that if we're in the front, we cannot see our team to heal them if we're in front of them, and then secondly, we need to be able to not die, right?
Right.
Get into position.
Again, notice your range was a little bit far away, then we move forwards. Looking for damage now, but again, we're just kind of like staring at our team. Alright, now we're to damaging, that's good. Alright, so just notice in general, there's a general, like, there's a lot of times where we're healing where we shouldn't be healing, and we're healing when we should be damaging, and then there's a lot of times where we're damaging when we should be healing, right? And it's just kind of flip-flopped in a lot of situations.
This will restore you. This will improve your condition. My will made real.
Again, just maybe not tossing it straight into a D.Va's face. Max fading away from fight. Making sure we're looking to use cover, so like standing more so like on that corner where Bap's at. Right? If our whole team's up there, we need to be able to see them, right? This puts us much more within range while still utilizing cover, right? So looking to use cover, looking to stay within range.
Tell me how this feels.
And good fade forwards, that's a good usage of fade there.
Regenerating your cellular structure.
Maybe a little bit of overhealing. Yeah, full HP and.
Just trying to make sure that they're healthy. They get vaccinated and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I could definitely see. You point this out that I do like healing a lot. This was a pretty heavy comms game. I was trying to get that guy to He's head out, but he didn't want to.
Repairing the damage. That's much
Good health
better.
back grab.
本気を見せて
Throw throw an orb in the direction in which you're moving, right? Not the opposite direction in which you're moving, because it's just gonna run away from you immediately if you're throwing it in the opposite direction. One other tiny tip is that if you do not have any objects at all to bounce a healing orb off of, bounce it off the floor, right? Then it's
Gotcha.
again going to get its max time on you. Though that one is slightly more situational because a lot of time you will have a wall to bounce it off, and that one also guarantees that once it's done with you, it's gone into the sky, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a orb that you toss into something might have the chance to bounce around and do some things. So think before using that one. That one would be, for example, a situation where like you are like really low HP and you need to get full HP, and there's no walls around you, right? All right. Lost fight. Probably looking. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams very split up here. I'd probably just be looking like at the moment. It's not looking like this is very good. It was a 1, 2, 3.5 versus a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a pretty much lost fight. We're all in poor positioning. We're very spread out. They're all grouped up. So I'd probably say this is a lost fight, and we just kind of stick around a little bit too long, right? Looking to at the very least just group up with our team.
Regen burst activated.
And a little bit of overhealing.
The
Right.
power of destruction.
Damage orbs aren't part. Again, another time where you might not want to use damage orbs is like when you already have your coalescence, because it's no longer needed for the ult charge. The only time where you can damage orb is when you're actually using it to try to get a kill. Right, that's the time where you can use it. Okay.
You seem in need of aid.
Cole
I'm under attack.
soon. Yeah. Right, so just looking to use don't hold on to ult. Use your ults in any fight that has not been won or lost yet. Right, you want to look to use it. Again, maybe this was I hadn't said this in past, but ults that are used first generally get more value than ults that are used second. Right, if they
Gotcha.
were to use coalescence first before we use coalescence or any ult in general, right, they use coal first. They get kills and healing, right, and then therefore we use coalescence and we have less people to heal, and we're already losing the fight, and then therefore our coalescence doesn't do as much, right? And then on top of that, we could end up just losing the fight before we get a chance to even use our ultimate. So look to use your ultimates early in fights. Whereas here again, we're just kind of holding it and holding it. Wonder when we're gonna use it.
Your power is mine.
We're gonna end soon, so I'm gonna skip to when we actually do use it here. So we end up dying before we get to use it.
Surrender to my. I cast this.
Oh, okay, we just use
I
it.
cast this. 66. Surrender to my.
Throwing an
will.
orb. Besides that, let's rewatch
I
5
think it's a
seconds.
one fight. Yeah, it was kind of a waste of one.
Surrender to my will.
All right, so watching it, I think the problem is that we from here cannot see the health bars. It's the only thing, because this is looking like it's definitely like we're at an advantage here if we see that two people are critical and Bob's inside of them. But from our perspective, we cannot really see that.
Yeah, all you
So
can really see is that they're all critical.
yeah, like you can see our
And
teammates.
I
So
even thought Ash was on the other side of the wall at that point, so I thought I was gonna get 3, but
yeah, so honestly, I don't blame you too much for that one, just because we couldn't really see the enemy team's health bars. Oh, don't look to heal your teams through walls, that doesn't do anything.
yeah.
Alright, so let's exit out here, right? I'm gonna go over the main points of the session, do a quick review, and then wrap it up from there.
Okay.
Alright, so let us see. We were Moira the whole time. So, or ability usage, right?
Science will reveal
Fade.
the truth.
Look to use, different techie things. You can jump at the end to go for more max range, to cross gaps, right? Like if we try to do this, we fall into the void. But whereas if we were to try to do the exact same thing, except for this time we're going to jump, well, now we can cross that very large gap. And that's going to be very handy in a lot of situations to be able to cross that gap, right? And make it to high grounds, for example, right? Like, so same thing is if I'm trying to get up to this high ground, right? I can't do that if I just were to fade forwards, but if I jump and fade, well, now I can make it up, right? So that sort of thing. Don't feel like you always have to max range fade, especially when you're fading backwards. Tap it and then you go shorter. Besides that, get around corners with it when you're in danger. Look to use fade when you're dodging and when you are in danger and for mobility. Don't just randomly use it when it doesn't do anything and then waste the ability, right? Orb usage, as with everything in your entire kit, you heal when it's needed, and you damage when healing is not needed, right? You need a healing orb when you need to burst heal someone, when somebody's all the way over there and they need
Allow me to
healing,
repair
when
the damage.
you're out of resources, when you already have your ultimate and you don't need to throw damage orbs for spam charge anymore, right?
Your
When just a
contributions to
lot of
the
different
furtherance of
situations, right?
science are to
Where
be
it's needed, when a bunch of people need group healing, right? When we need healing, right? So a bunch of different things, but when those boxes are not checked off, then we're throwing damage orbs, right? Don't chuck orbs straight into the diva's face, right? Look to get around her. Make sure we're bouncing healing orbs off of objects to preference, one if you can't, and then floor as a very last resort if in certain situations, right? Besides that, make sure we're not like randomly having orbs bounce off things, and then that is about it overall. Trying to think about the placement. I'm thinking medium to medium high around that range. I don't know if it deserves a medium high, but there definitely are a lot of things with it. I just don't know. I don't know if it just has that oomph in it, but we'll put it around that for now, right? Ultimate usage, right? Making sure we're not using it in won or lost fights. Don't hold on to it. Use it at the very beginning of fights. I think we saw us hold on to it for entire fights, like maybe 2 or 3 times that game, right? Which is an extra 2 coalescences we could have had that game, right? Which does a whole lot. So make sure we're not holding on to it. Also, don't use, don't get any value. Look to line up as many people as possible with it. Rotate around teammates and enemies to line people up. If we're doing this, we're hitting one person. If we do this, we're hitting 2 people, right? So look to rotate yourself around people to get maximum number of people in it. Do maximum number of things, and then besides that, that is pretty much it. That one will go into a medium priority, right?
Okay.
Sorry, one moment there.
Yeah, no worries.
Then besides that, I have mechanics, right? So mechanics. Let's see. Within mechanics, you have when to use healing versus left click versus right click, which you already discussed, right? It's just the same thing. You use it when it's needed. Use left click when it's needed. Sorry, I have people making background noise at the moment.
Yeah, no worries at all, man.
All right, so I'm back. In any case, right, healing is you use it when it's needed. You right click when it's not needed, right? And then besides that, make sure you're stick. Then I guess it's the positioning. What else is there? Make sure you're not overhealing, right? Don't pay attention to health bars. Don't just continually heal when people don't need it. Let's see what else is there. Make sure we're damaging. Sometimes we just kind of sit there with 0 energy and like stare at our teammates, right? Like we just, or it's not energy, but resource, right? We just kind of be like, oh, my teammate needs healing. Let me just sit here and wait, right? Instead of going and looking for damage, right? To charge up that resource meter. Let's see, is that about it within that? Yeah, that one did come up with decent bits, so that one probably goes to trying to think. That one goes to probably, let's put that on a low to medium priority. Then moving on, right? We have positioning. Make sure that we are using cover, right? Not standing out in the open. Good positioning is usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure that we are sticking with our team. Don't stand a mile away from them where we can't do anything to them. Your range is 16 meters on your left click. Look to stay within that range of as many teammates as possible. The biggest bulk of them as you can, so we can heal as many teammates as possible, right? When you're healing people, same thing as coalescence is look to line them up because we can heal multiple people at the same time versus this which heals one person, right? And then that also saves you on healing resource and time. Anything else with positioning? I think that was mainly it, right? It was those main things. And I'd probably say that one was like a medium priority. And then finally we have awareness, right? Awareness, pay attention to your health bar, right? Request healing when you're low. Don't just kind of sit out of the fight doing nothing, right? Make sure that we're paying attention to our ultimate and not holding on to it. Make sure that we are paying attention to health bars of teammates and danger levels of teammates. When do people need healing? When don't they? Right? Paying attention to where's our teammates at, right? Sometimes we just were like, chilling here when they're all the way over there, and we weren't even noticing that they're all the way over there, right? So pay attention to where's my team at. Pay attention to where the enemy team is at. Pay attention to whether or not you're winning or losing the fight, right? There are a lot of fights where we just weren't paying attention and then made bad decisions off of accordingly, right? Just as a reminder, it's 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fights. No ultimate won or lost fights. Get aggressive in winning, passive in losing, and then in a lost fight you look to get out, or you let them kill you if you cannot, right? Overall, awareness probably went to like a medium high, just because there are a lot of situations where we just weren't really paying attention, right? And then that's about it. So let's put that in order real quick. Number 1 was your awareness. Number 2 was your ability usage. Number 3 is your ultimate usage. 4 is your positioning. 5 is your mechanics. You have any? And then the two that are probably the closest there, which might be a little bit more interchangeable, would be probably positioning and your ultimate usage. Those two could probably be either or. Do you have any questions about anything we've gone over? Just anything else in general?
No, I think that's good.
All right. So let me stop